Hello and welcome to Connecting Kitsap. My name is Matt Murphy and I'm the President and CEO of the South Kitsap Chamber of Commerce. With Connecting Kitsap, we put you in touch with what to do, where to go, and the people to know in Kitsap County. Hey everybody, it's Chamber Matt, and today I am sitting outside beautiful Whiskey Gulch on a fine, what month are we in? We're in April now, aren't we, Dave?
April, it's beautiful.
April and is beautiful, finally beautiful. I'm with Dave Montoure. He is a local restaurant owner, a local resident here in Port Orchard. So Dave, let me get a little bit of background from you here. You are a Port Orchard resident.
Correct.
You have a restaurant in West Seattle,
Correct.
West 5.
Mm-hmm.
You have a restaurant in Silverdale, KettleFish.
Yeah.
And you live here in Port Orchard.
Right.
So how does that work there? Is this like the golden triangle of Dave's life?
Yeah, it's interesting. It works for me because my residence is in Southworth, next to the Southworth Ferry. So that was a convenient point for me when I had the restaurant in West Seattle and the new restaurant up in Silverdale. It was a convenient location for me to get to both locations, Silverdale and to West Seattle. I moved to Kitsap in 2017 from Seattle. Very deliberately to escape sort of the madness of Seattle.
Yeah.
And to establish myself in Kitsap. I knew that I wanted to open a new business, and Kitsap was the best location I found to open that business. So I'm happy to open KettleFish restaurant up in Silverdale. We opened in 2019. Got a good 9 months under our belt before pandemic hit. And we have been resilient and trying to, sustain the operation through the pandemic, and we're making it through. So we're excited about that.
Outstanding. That's really cool. So you do live here in South Kitsap. You live by the Southworth Ferry. You are a member of the Port Orchard Rotary.
Correct.
Meets down here at Whiskey Gulch, 7:30 on Tuesday mornings.
Every Tuesday morning.
Every Tuesday morning.
Come on down, Port Orchard Rotary.
Yep. And then you're also a member of the Silverdale Chamber of Commerce.
Correct.
I think you're on the board there, aren't you?
Correct.
You're on the board of the Silverdale Chamber of Commerce. Just joined the Port Orchard Chamber of Commerce. So you got a business, West Seattle, Silverdale. You joined the Port Orchard Chamber of Commerce. Why? What do you think the value is of a Chamber of Commerce?
Let me tell you, Matt, that I think the value in chambers of commerce is probably the best bang for your buck. That's one thing I learned during the pandemic time. Dollars for investment are scarce in small businesses, and I think that the best return that you can get on those dollars is an investment in your local chambers of commerce, your local guilds, your local associations, your trade associations. So at the beginning of COVID, I doubled down. At the beginning of COVID, I doubled down on my memberships. I joined the Silverdale Chamber of Commerce as well as the Port Orchard Chamber of Commerce, but I also joined my associations, my hospitality association in Washington. I think it's very important, when we are disconnected in times of COVID, when there's a lot of misinformation or confusing information, it's very important to be in your network and to be around your peers and your peer community. And there's no better way to be connected and remain connected than through your local associations, your chambers of commerce, your Rotaries, your Kiwanis, your Lions, and then your trade associations. So I think, the natural reaction is to look at that money and think, that's expensive, I can't afford that this year. I took a different tack. I thought those are important investments, and I need to protect those, and actually double down on my time and my investment and commitment to those organizations, because those are the folks that are going to help us get through this pandemic, get through these uncertain times together. So that's the value that I saw in sort of renewing and redoubling my efforts and interest in chambers of commerce.
That's a great point, because the information side of things, I think you're absolutely right. You can hear the general information, but through all of this and our networking from the chamber standpoint with the AWB, Association of Washington Businesses, I've listened to and participated in calls with the Washington Hospitality Association, the Washington Retail Association. I think just about all the organizations have a trade, any industry has a trade organization like that, and I think it is important to dial into those, because they're the ones that know specifically how it affects you.
I agree with that. That's a great point, and really, I've received a lot of value in my chamber membership and my membership with Washington Hospitality, because I'm in a peer network, I can talk to other restaurateurs, other small business owners about how, the impacts of, the new economy are playing out in different industries and in my peer network and in other restaurants. So we can learn best practices, we can learn what doesn't work. We shared a lot of information in my restaurant peer community throughout COVID about what worked, what didn't work, how to respond to information from the CDC, how to respond to information from the governor. And I think that, the value of those peer networks was, you can't place a dollar amount on that. So,
right,
very
super.
Yeah.
So, how has life been? I know that, we went from nothing to 25%. I guess 50% was the first reopening, wasn't it?
Boy, it's been so long.
I know, right?
Matt, to be honest, I have two restaurants in two very different, distinct markets.
That's true. That's
and
true.
They're two very different restaurants. One is a casual, quick service KettleFish up in Silverdale, which is more of a counter-served restaurant. And then I have a full-service restaurant in Seattle, which is a sit-down cocktail lounge affair. And so both operations responded very differently to the inputs
Fair
of
enough.
COVID.
Yeah. So up in Silverdale now, then, what are operations like in Silverdale? Are you open? You're open.
So we are open according to the government guidelines at 50%. We have 50% capacity, so we're 50% closed and 50% open. We do have patio seating available, which has been very nice for us. On a beautiful day like this, I can't think of a better thing to do than come up and have some fish and chips. Better plug, sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, no.
No, but the patio was a saving grace during those periods of 25% reopening when we could not have the restaurant open at any viable capacity. The patrons were allowed to sit outdoors in the cold and try to enjoy their meal.
Yeah. Down here at Whiskey Gulch, where they had the tarp set up, and so imagine you.
And that's challenging when you're a hospitality person to hand people food and tell them to go outside. That rips at you. It's really challenging. So those have been some lessons learned. Yeah,
for sure. So I'm going to be facetious here, Dave. Running a business with full expenses on 50% capacity, how's that worked for you?
Not well. The numbers do not pencil out, obviously, particularly in full service. Counter service is a little different, different math there, but full service just simply does not work at a 50% capacity number. So it's been challenging to try to maintain a business when the only sustainable money coming in is government relief, PPP money.
Right, yeah.
Thank goodness rent was covered, because the operation would not have covered the full service business. It would have been bankrupted, for sure.
Okay, all right. So I guess under those circumstances, Dave, do you have anything that any words of advice to the viewers and the citizens and the residents of Kitsap County, South Kitsap, Silverdale?
For the residents of Kitsap, thank you. I think the residents and the community have been very supportive of, particularly our smaller businesses. They realize that the impacts have been felt more significantly by the local, small, independent retail, independent restaurant than the bigger corporations. And we've seen, folks come out and be supportive in that regard. So thank you, Kitsap, for, your support during these times. It's nice to have some recognition that folks understand that we're very challenged to stay in business during these times.
And you're doing takeout too?
Correct. We are doing takeout.
Okay, so you're doing takeout too. So on that note, and Dave, thanks all the residents for their continued support. I want to end with the way I usually do on these calls, these interviews, Dave, is I just want to thank everybody also, but I want you all to remember, as usual, love local and shop local. Thanks everybody. Thanks Dave for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's been fun. It's a great day, and unfortunately it's a Tuesday morning, and so we all got to go to work. We can't enjoy it, but thanks for joining us today.
Thanks everyone. Thanks, Matt.